Hello and welcome to week 1. Oh my goodness, it's here. It's finally here and I am so excited. I am just as excited as you. I can tell you that. It never gets old. Astrology never gets old. It is a constant tool of discovery and of self-discovery, even as I teach it. It's amazing. So this is week 1 of our 6-week rabbit hole that we are going to dive deep into, a deep journey of self-discovery and self-uncovery and finding gems, remembering our path, remembering our purpose, remembering who we are, highlighting aspects of ourselves that maybe we haven't wanted to acknowledge. Also, what I find with the chart and in all the sessions I have with clients is that it gives them like a sense of relief sometimes. Sometimes it's puzzle pieces that have been missing your whole life. Sometimes it's a sense of, yes, that does feel like what I'm doing and I've been fighting that all my life. So now I can relax. I'm so excited to be here. So what you'll get used to is me and a million notes and a lot of talking, obviously. That's why you're all here. Each week's video, teaching video, goes for around 1 to 2 hours tops, and there is so much to share. So I always have lots of stuff going on. I've got my water. You're probably used to my way of teaching and talking and delivering, and hopefully that's one reason that you've come to share this journey with me. So bless, thank you. I want to thank you all so much for coming on this 6-week journey, because this means the world to me. This is me literally cracking my heart open. It's like me sharing my children. Yeah, this is who I am. Astrology is my language. Astrology is what I feel, and what you will discover about me is I am not like probably other astrology teachers, astrology mentors. I don't even really like calling myself a teacher. This whole 6 weeks is actually an invitation for you to understand more of yourself. So I see myself as a mentor, and of course I'm teaching. So, and I am a natural, it's what I do. I'm born in the week of the teacher, in astrology actually. So interestingly enough, when I was a little girl and I found out I was born in the week of the teacher when other people were born in magic and all this stuff, I thought it was really friggin' boring. But then I realized that this is what I'm here to do. So amazing, and it's my heart. So I feel like this is me cracking wide open to give you the nuts and bolts of astrology. I believe astrology is really easy. It's literally 1 + 1 + 1, which is 3, which is really basic. It's signs, planets, houses. They're the 3 main things that can help you to understand astrology. And my real goal with this 6 weeks is for you to be able to read your own chart. So, of course, it's not going to be like someone who's been studying for 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 years, but it's the understanding that if you can look at the chart, which I've got a little one here that I'm going to show. If you can look at it and go, oh, the 7th house, the sun's in the 7th house, and the sun's in Capricorn, I know what that means. Because everyone gets a little bit lost, don't they, with astrology? Everything seems too hard and too difficult, and you look at it and, oh, there's too many lines, there's too much going on. Astrologers, once you understand the language, you understand astrology. So that's really what this 6 weeks is about. It's a foundation of understanding the language. Because once you understand the language, you can go and watch then, really amazing astrologers online and read more text, and you're going to understand, when they're talking about Mars and Venus together. You're going to get that, Mars and Jupiter, doing stuff together. You're going to be able to put everything together like a puzzle. So that is my intention. This 6 weeks isn't for you to go and become an astrologer and go and start charging for readings, because that wouldn't be great, especially if you're brand new, because words are magic. So you can heal or harm someone, and to understand the full chart takes a long time. Like, this language takes years and years and years to master. And even then it's not mastered because things are constantly changing. But what as you know, I'm very practical and pragmatic, and I actually think astrology is easy. There is a simplicity to it, the basis of it. So once you've got that, then you start to add the layers of depth, and you start to add more layers of understanding, because what we're going to do is we're going to pull everything out, have a look at it, and then try and put it back together, right? And in 6 weeks, I only literally even called myself an astrologer last year, and that is because my whole life, it's a constant learning. I am still learning, still. And that's what I love about astrology. And that actually is within my chart. I love constantly learning. So I will stay up until all hours of the night, researching a certain aspect, really looking at a certain planet, what it's doing, so on and so forth, because the planets are always moving. So the planets are always going through their own cycles in the sky, which do affect your own chart. But in this 6 weeks, it's about understanding and mastering the language, knowing that if someone says, I've got Chiron in my 4th house, well, not Chiron, because we're not doing Chiron, that one just came out, sorry. We're doing the 10 planets, the signs, the houses, and this first week is a cruisy week in to get you started today, yeah? But I want to give this overall little foundation chat around astrology. So, and what it means. And after 6 weeks, yes, go and look at your family's charts, your chart, and keep reading, keep researching. I highly recommend books. Books. Literally, my computer is sitting on 6 astrology books. I've got about 6 more being delivered to me. So the reading of astrology is really good. Yes, the internet can give some very brief descriptions, but you might have Venus in Libra in the 7th house, and someone might have Venus in Libra in the 4th house, but then there's something else going on in the chart, and so it changes everything. The chart is a whole, and we are actually, I wrote something really cool, we are actually, each sign and each planet, they are a single aspect within the whole totality of the chart, the whole totality of the zodiac. We are all 12 signs. We are all 12 houses. We are all of the planets, yeah? And that is what you will get from me. I can't teach people to feel astrology like I do, but what I endeavor to teach, and after already doing this course a couple of times, the feedback is phenomenal, but the change and the understanding and the deepening of self-knowledge, self-awareness, self-fulfillment, self-mastery, that is why I do this, so that you know who you are. We do not need to go and diagnose other people. Everyone wants to learn something and then go and practice it on everyone else. My tip, self first. For me, when you are really understanding astrology and the basis of it, you will know where every planet is in every house, and probably your families as well, off by heart, won't even have to look, you'll even know the degree. So that is a true sense of a word of really the foundation here, because astrology is all very hype at the moment, all over social media and stuff, which I'm telling you now, I've been doing, like I said, since I was 9, but it's wonderful because people are wanting awareness. You know, people are wanting to know who they are. And that's why I love that astrology is becoming a little bit more mainstream. However, there is this weird bandwagon of people that nut on to eclipses or to the Mercury retrograde or to this or to that or to the Pluto or to the Capricorn and stuff, but they don't even know their own chart. So I commend you for being here and wanting to take that step to know your own chart. When people say that, but they don't even know what their moon sign is in, or that they even have Mercury retrograde in their own natal chart, it blows my mind. I'm like, you don't even know yourself, but you're diagnosing and feeling all of these energies, but you don't even know how it's happening in your own chart, where it's happening, what planet your sun, what house your sun sign is in, for crying out loud. Like, for me, it's about integrity and intention and truth. Yeah, and self-mastery, self-knowledge. So I commend you for coming and joining this 6 weeks to want to go deeper and to learn about your chart, because just because someone's a Cancerian means nothing, means nothing. They might have one planet and that's their sun sign in Cancer and everything else is everywhere else. So the generalization of horoscope and astrology and stuff like that, that's what sort of, I don't know, maybe given astrology sort of a bad rep for a long time. And now with social media and eclipses and people understanding a little bit more, we can never use astrology as an excuse. Oh, well, the moon's full, so I'm an asshole. No, you're being an asshole because you're an asshole. It's got nothing to do with the moon. And what we have to understand is that the planets aren't telling you how to behave. They're giving you indications of what may come up. And for me, it's about awareness. So when we are aware of where the moon is in our chart every month, we can go, oh, that's when I get a little bit, I need to go and connect more to the earth, or I need to do this, or I need to do that, right? So it's the understanding and awareness around what's going on in the skies, as opposed to blaming Mercury retrograde, which I think it would be hilarious if so many people of those, those people that hate Mercury retrograde have Mercury retrograde in their own chart. And then all of a sudden, wouldn't that just change? Be like, oh, I have this, because Mercury retrograde in your own chart would mean that Mercury retrograde is good for you and that you actually sort of vibe with that shit. And there's just a lot of fear, a lot of talk, and not a whole lot of knowledge. So that's why this is my favorite course to teach. I have a lot of astrology friends who gag wanting to teach people the basics, because we can get a little bit lost in, but then the zodiac started at 0 degrees of Aries and then back in the 1920s. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm experiential. I want it to be simple. I want it to be effortless and easy. You will then, this is the beginning, maybe for some of you. This is the beginning of the journey for you. So it's not about it being complicated. And yes, you use the group to ask any questions, because it can still seem a little bit overwhelming or daunting, or you don't understand, what do you mean that planet there? Or what do you mean this or that? And that's cool. That's what I'm here for. You literally have me for 6 weeks. 6 weeks, you have full access to me from Monday through to Friday. And if I don't answer you straight away, I will always answer you. Yeah. That's the thing with this. I can answer any question. And if I don't know the answer straight away, guess what? I'll go and look at a book and find the answer myself too. Yeah. So the thing is that astrology is layers. It's deep. It takes years to understand. It's a language. It's not a tool to go and tell everyone, well, you've got that there, so that will make you this, because that's not how it is. You've got to understand the planets and the signs and the houses and how they're all playing out for you then to integrate that into your life. And yeah, we all have some hard shit in our charts. I'm not going to lie. And I won't lie the whole time, but we need to acknowledge certain parts. And what it does is it gives us answers to, oh, wow, no wonder I have big relationship issues in this lifetime. No wonder. It's because yada, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden it gives you the freedom to then, not an excuse, but the freedom to then go, wow, okay, so I've actually come in. This is my own unique blueprint. This is how I am, how I interact, how I feel, how I think, where my luck is. Luck. I don't believe in luck. I believe in Jupiter. So you'll hear all about Jupiter when we go into the planets. But this is how, where I feel restricted, or my relationship with my parents. I can look at someone's chart straight away and tell you their relationship with their parents. And you'll be able to do something similar, yeah, by the end of this. You'll be able to at least know the moon and sun, look at your own children's charts, and so on and so forth, yeah? So 6 weeks is a drop in the ocean when it comes to astrology. I promise you that. But what I also promise you is a simple, streamlined, very Tiani tangent, experiential. That's how I teach. I don't teach clinical with only facts and this is Saturn and this is how he is and blah, blah, blah. I do talk about stories and how it's unfolded for me, how that went for me, what this planet means to me, what that planet, how I struggle with that planet and that energy. I will share all of that because for me, it's the experience that helps you to actually navigate it in your own chart and in your own life, but then to look at it in your own life. Oh, wow, my communication is in this sign. And that's why I don't understand my husband sometimes because his communication style is completely different. This is one of the biggest things I love about astrology, acceptance. I do not judge anyone. Oh, of course, I can maybe be a judgy asshole sometimes, but I mean, on a deep level, I don't judge the way that person did this or this, or I accept. And the reason I accept is because I acknowledge and understand astrology, and I know everyone filters, whether it's their emotions, their personality, their feelings, whatever, the way they speak, it's all filtered through a different lens. If I've got my communication planet in a different sign than you, and you think I'm, chatty and too much, you might be going, but I need it more slow and methodical, yeah? So we start to understand each other by understanding ourselves and by understanding astrology. Like that is where it begins, is the understanding and the awareness, yeah? So I'm a very intuitive teacher, like I said, but I love research. I am someone still, even if I can talk astrology off the top of my head, I will always have notes. I will always do research. I've got hundreds of books that I look at. I don't have a program. I'm not one of those typical astrologers who's probably more of a real astrologer. I will invest in one because it would save me hours and hours of time, but I'm an intuitive astrologer, so I feel the chart, I feel what's going on, I see what's going on. It just happens for me like that. But high research is something that I value as well. So I'm a bit of both, right? And obviously, like I just said, the purpose of this is not a teaching tool, it's a discovering tool. It's a learning tool for you. There's 6 weeks to discover and learn how to read your own chart. This will not be everything. This isn't everything. This 6 weeks is, it's the tiniest amount. It really is. I promise. There's so much more. And that's what excites me about astrology. Now, this might be the only thing you do, and it just gives you that sort of base to go, oh, that person's this sign, and oh, my child has that moon, so that helps me to understand their emotional needs. You might not want to go on any further and do too much else, but this will give you a fundamental foundation of at least understanding the very basics. And for others, it might be just the beginning, getting their astrology wings ready to soar and dive deeper into all sorts of things in the cosmos. There's asteroids, hundreds and hundreds of asteroids. There's so much that we can go into. That's why I love it, because it's infinite. It is infinite layers and epically deep. So, yes. Let's begin. I am sharing me, I am sharing my passion, and I am your mentor for the next 6 weeks. Woohoo! So a few things for the first week. Okay. You would have been sent notes. They're going to look a little bit different to this because they just will. So I would recommend having them printed up, having them all ready to go. I think that light's a bit bright, isn't it? Sorry. Having them all, and then I would have some sort of journal that's just for astrology. So I have so many astrology. I've got a huge journal down there. I've just got astrology everywhere and a million different books. And it's difficult to contain because you keep adding things to it, okay? You just keep adding things. So it's like you'd need one book for one thing and one book for the other thing. But for the 6-week course, just give yourself some space to write and take notes. And you can also take notes on the thing once it's printed up as well. So maybe not doing everything double-sided, keeping a side spare so that you've always got that. So that's the first thing. I recommend a cheat sheet. So getting a cheat sheet and starting to look at all of the glyphs. So you're looking at all of the glyphs here. These that go around the outside of the circle, they are the signs, okay? So you want to start to draw them. Oh, that's Aries, that's Taurus, that's Gemini. You want to draw them. So have your little cheat sheet so that you can understand and look at and start to get a real solid knowledge of, by looking at a chart, you're going to know, oh, well, that's a sign of Cancer. And some of you may know all that stuff already, which is awesome. But if you don't, I highly recommend drawing it and writing it down. Then you also want to, of course, eventually you want to do the planets as well. So all of the planets have their own glyphs. And you want to start to go, oh, the glyph of the sun is the circle with the dot. And all of the glyphs actually have their own alchemical background. And you can go and research that, like each, you know, Venus has, it talks about the circle and the cross. Mercury has the circle, the cross, and then the little halo, which actually looks like a Taurus, but then the cross down the bottom. So you can actually go and do extra research. I am interested in the Greek mythology, and I've done a lot more of the Greek mythology stuff, but I really want to keep this simple to start with because you can dive deeper into all of that stuff at any time. This is to get the real the real solid basics, as in for your chart, to look at your chart. So the thing that we're going to do is, in this first week, is I'm going to highlight it here, is we are going to be just looking at that chart. That's it. Okay, so this chart here, this is your beautiful mandala of yourself, your soul, the time you were born, all of it. Okay, that is you. That is you in a blueprint. It is my favorite thing to look at. I have hundreds of charts all over my phone, famous people's. It is my favorite thing to look at. I love looking at the chart. So this little square, that's what we're going to be focusing on for week 1, and I'm going to share about what that is in a minute. I'm just going to share with you everything else. Then you've got this box over the corner that actually has all of the planets and then what signs they're in. Okay, so that's another. These are tools that you need to know when you're looking at a chart. And then you've got the thing that looks like a staircase. Yeah, the little laddery thing. Now that's something that you do not even have to worry about. This is module 1. We don't even talk about stuff. Occasionally I slip shit in and accidentally talk about stuff, but really in basic terms, that little staircase symbology, you do not even need to go there. We want to be looking at what we're going to be sharing today, your actual chart, and you know, you want to have a look where it says Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter. Yeah, you want to have a look, and then you can see where all of them see where all of your planets are. Now, obviously, if these are the signs around, inside each of the pie pieces is the planets. They're the planets. And the little number, I'm just giving you a couple of little basic things here. The little number that I've just highlighted next to the moon, 10, that is the degree. So we don't talk about degrees. We don't talk about aspects. We're not talking about the stuff that's up here before having this. Of course, this is my language and I can't help talking about stuff sometimes, and in this 6 weeks you will hear me talk about stuff, but I'll always explain it. But the basic teaching is not that, okay? So that's first and foremost. Also, yes, like I said, we are all the signs, we are all the planets. We play out each and every single one of them. So we have to get to know them all, okay? That is the biggest thing. So week 1, which is this week, yay, it's been 23 minutes of me talking. Get used to that. Week 1 is what we're sharing is the elements, the qualities, and we'll chat a little bit about opposing signs, okay? So we go into the signs in week 2. So we actually go through Aries through to Pisces in depth. We really look at the signs and we just take notes and keywords and just really start to have a deeper understanding and awareness of the signs, okay? So, but for week 1, what we are going to understand is the elements and the qualities, okay? So this breaks down the chart, and this is exactly what this little thing here is, okay? This is elements and qualities. So let's do this. So, like I said, cheat sheet's a great idea. Make sure you've got a book for all of your notes. My hair's wild because it just always is. And I'm excited to start to teach. Okay. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay. The elements is something that can often be overlooked in astrology. And in my recent courses, I have found this to be very true. People are shocked about the elements. They might know that their sun is in Taurus and that Taurus is an earth sign. That's cool. But when we're looking at the whole chart, the elements are really important. Now, I follow another astrologer called Deborah Silverman, so she's pretty cool. I like her. She's a Gemini and she's real chatty, and I've got my Mercury in Gemini, so I've got my communication planet in its home sign of Gemini. Mercury has 2 planets that rule, that it rules, and it's Mercury and Virgo, okay? But I'm the Mercury one, which is an air sign. So she is a Gemini, and so she's chatty and she's awesome, and I really like her. And she has a book called The Missing Element, okay, by Deborah Silverman, The Missing Element. Look, I've bought it. I actually haven't read it. I've flicked through it, but I know it'll be great because every reading I do, this is the first thing I look at. I look at, well, how much earth do you have? How much fire do you have? How much air do you have? And how much water do you have? That is the first port of call for me because we want to understand the elements. We want to understand what's going on for that person. Some people have no element of no planets in an element, okay? And once we get to the houses, this is the beginning. We will continue to layer and layer and layer because the houses are also elements once we get there, yeah? So then some person might not have any planets in any element, or like in a certain element. So someone's got no planets in earth, but I'll be able to look at the houses and go, oh, but they have 6 planets in earth houses. So that actually flavors that a little bit different, okay? So this is all stuff that we can start to build on and that you will get used to. So let's look at the elements. Fire. I like to look at the actual thing, fire. So what does fire do? Fire destructs. Fire destroys, yeah? Fire will go through a whole forest, and then what happens after that? It's renewed. So fire is destructive. But what else is fire? It's powerful. Powerful. And what else is it? It's active. It's an action. Fire is an action. Yeah? Earth isn't an action. So guess what? Us Earthies, oh yeah, we can be a little bit lazy, especially Taurians. And I just want to say that I don't generalize. I don't think all Taurians are lazy. I have a lot of Taurus in my chart, so I'll speak for myself when I say lazy. However, we can't generalize anything. Like I said, one person that all Cancerians are not the same. So that's where all of these different elements start to come in, okay, and start to make the bigger picture and make the person become who the person is, become whole, right? So fire moves, fire is active, fire is action, fire destructs, destroys, but rebirths. Fire is a very, very powerful element, yeah? An element that we can be inspired by. Think about that. We can look at fire and feel nourished and warm, but then it can burn, then it's hot, spicy, ouchy, yeah? So the 3 fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Aries is the originator, Leo is the organizer, and Sag is the executive in the fire. Of course, there are a million other things, and we'll talk about signs next week, but in just the elements, yeah? So I give a lot of keywords. All the notes are done in keywords. I don't give full paragraphs, full sentences. I'm not writing a book here. For me, keywords are the most powerful and digestible. You want to be able to digest this stuff, yeah? So all of the elements are either feminine or masculine, yin, yang, positive, negative, active or receptive, okay? So, of course, fire is active, okay? Fire is an active element. Yang, so it's masculine, okay? Yang is masculine. It takes action. It wants to move. It wants to get shit done. It doesn't just want to stay around and be, oh, I'm not feeling like I want to do that today. Heavy fire charts, they transform people. They get shit done. They know how to move forward. They're pioneers. And so here are some of the keywords for fire: action, passion, intuition, leaders, energetic, bright, dominant, independent, motivation, creators and creation, because what does fire do? It's creation. Impractical, burnout, impatient, innovative. So the fire signs of Aries, Leo, and Sag are yang, masculine, active, and positive. Okay, so this is in your notes. Okay, so down the bottom here is fire and air, masculine, yang, and positive. I just haven't written active there, but they're active, yeah, as opposed to receptive. Act, not receive. So the other masculine, yang, positive, active sign is the air sign, okay? So they're the two that go together, okay? Fire and air work well together. Air fuels the fire, yeah? Air is the ideas, fire, and because air is the mind, it's the mental, it's the ether, yeah? It's the ether. Air is the ether. What does air do? We can have a windy day and it clears shit out and sometimes sparks inspiration. You know, I love windy days. I love windy days. And what I've found is I have a lot of air in my chart. I am an earth air dominant chart, okay? So what you want to do to find this is down the side of the little square, you will see FA, E, and W, yeah? So you're just looking at the planets in that. But I want you to, so what I do is I'm sort of teaching you how I give a bit of a reading, right? So what I do is I actually go over to this bit and go, oh, Sun, Capricorn, Earth, Moon, I'm reading upside down, Virgo, yeah, Earth. And then I look, so without just, because that little table of fire, air, earth, and water, it's a little box, and then it's got C, F, and M on the top, and we're going to talk about that. But instead of going over there to count what's going on, I go to the source, which is the actual planets, yeah, which is these guys here, and I read what signs they're in, and because I know that Aries, Leo, and Sag are a fire sign. Anytime I see Aries, Leo, and Sag, I do a tally. Like literally that's what I do in my chart. I'm like, oh, that person's got 5 fire, 2 air, and 3 water, no earth. So we're always looking at 10, okay? So what you're not going to be paying attention to in this course for the whole 6 weeks is what's down the bottom that says true node, which is actually your north node. It says true node, but it's the north node, and Chiron. So those 2 bottom ones there, we're not actually looking at. We're just looking at these 10. They're the planets that we will be diving deep into, okay? So when you look at your elements, you've got here some keywords, Aries, Leo, and Sag. These are the fire signs, okay? They get along good. And I have some fire sign friends, and most of their friends are fire signs, because fire signs are they're so independent and they are about themselves. So they can be caring and giving and you know, their whole chart's got beautiful things, but the fire itself is very about the self. So I find that they really understand each other really well, the Aries, Leo, and Sag. So when they surround each other with other people who sort of put themselves first, they get it. They don't care. They're not taking offense. You know, you get someone like little old me with a Cancer moon who gets really like, oh, that hurt my feelings. You know, I'm better now. But, you know, back in the day, I found selfish people very, very difficult to deal with, very difficult. I felt like they didn't care about me. I think that's what it was for me. It's a caring thing. But no, they care so much, but there's this like non-attachment. They're not like, you say, they speak their minds, they say what they need to say, and then they just get on with it. And whereas me, I would sort of hold on. I would hold on. I have a Cancer moon. So my moon is at home in her sign of Cancer. So that can hold on to the old and, oh, but you said that. And did you mean that? And now I'm upset and I'm hurt. Obviously, this is a long time ago. But I want to share these things so that you can start to understand. So the fire signs for me, they really get along like a house on fire. Literally, oh my God, a house on fire. I actually didn't do that deliberately. Can you believe that? Freak, that's funny. Anyway, so my eldest daughter is with her boyfriend, and they've been together for nearly 3 years. And, or whenever you get this, they've been together for a while. And I think they'll get married, and she's a Leo and he's an Aries, and it just works. She had another boyfriend before that was a Libra, didn't work. And the fire within them is that there's these similarities, and all elements are. And that's why we can't generalize. Some people are married to, so a fire and an air, they go together, okay? So we're going to talk about air now. So fire and air, they get along together like earth and water, okay? This is where we start to look at the elements and the synastry, yeah, and how everyone gets along and how everyone feels around one another. So fire and air, they get along together, but fire and fire, they really have a mutual understanding. But it doesn't mean that if you are a fire and earth, so you're a Taurus sun and a Leo sun, that you can't get married, because everything else in your chart might be great, right? In your chart than in your partner's chart. So you can't, that's the problem with astrology. We can't generalize. We can't scope and sensationalize all people under one umbrella. It just doesn't happen. It can't happen. It's impossible to happen. So let's look at the air. So as we know, it's the same as Leo. It's Leo. I've got Leo on my head now. The same as fire. Yang, masculine, positive, action. Okay? Now, we think of air. Air is ideas. Air is the mind. Air is the intellect. Air is what we think. Okay, so that's why air and fire go good together. Yeah, look at it. The air fuels the fire. So 2 fire signs could go good, but a fire and an air sign could work as well. Yeah, if they're compatible in every other way. Synastry is a whole different thing. Relationship synastry, looking at the chart really in depth for relationship, is amazing. It's one of my favorite things, and I'm really hoping to get a workshop around that as well. So the 3 air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Gemini, friendly, Libra, diplomatic, and Aquarius, the individual. Okay, so this is just some little keywords around them in their air sign components. So some of the words for air are thinkers, intellects, ideas, rational, innovative, thinking, spontaneous, mental. So mental rapport with the air signs is important. They want to talk, they want to communicate, they want to think, they want a good conversation. Yeah, whereas fire, what they're looking for is, let's have some action, let's do something adventurous, let's climb up a mountain. So with the air, they can lack emotional connection because they think more than they feel. Air signs can be too in their heads and not enough in their hearts. So instead of, feeling something, they think about what they're feeling. They rationalize their feelings. Oh, well, I think I'm feeling like this. I think I'm feeling like this. I'm going to rationalize it, analyze it, go over it, go under it, go around it, and then they don't drop into their heart, okay? And then when you understand all of this stuff, then you start to make changes. That's what I've always said. So the thing is that astrology doesn't define you. Just because you're an air sign doesn't mean that you're all those things. You might be some of them. You might need to actually invite some more into your life. But when I was a little girl, and one of my favourite books is Gary Gold. So one of my favourite teachers is Gary Goldschneider. And some of the traits that I had for a Taurus too. Now, the cusp thing is a whole different conversation, and I might chat about that here or on the live. I'm not sure yet. On one of the live calls. But the thing is that I'm a Taurus too. So it's the second decan of Taurus. And it had 3 words: critical, inflexible, and I've finally forgotten it. I never forget this. Demanding. So when I was just a young girl of 14, when I got my first big, huge astrology book at 14 years old, which I've still got today, I was like, I don't want to be critical, inflexible, and demanding. And so I've never used it as a crux. I'm not stubborn because I'm a Taurus. So I'm stubborn, I'm a Taurus, whatever, deal with it. I never, ever have been like that. So for me, when I read critical, inflexible, and demanding, I'm like, whoa, I need to be the observer of that shit, right? And master that shit. So what we say as astrologers is the fool obeys his chart and the wise man rules it. So you become the wise man of your chart. You become the master. And so when I read those 3 words many, 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 many moons ago, I decided I didn't want to be those things. So now I pull myself up. Can I tend towards being those things sometimes? Of course I can. Of course I can be, sometimes I can be quite critical. And so when I'm being that, I stop, I observe myself. I don't just go along with it. It doesn't just become this like automatic pilot. And I think that that's the awareness and understanding that astrology in your own chart and all of these things can give you is the awareness of the way you act, the way you react, the way you interact, the way that you are. Yeah. So you can then become the observer. I step outside of myself. When if I know that there's a situation where I'm going to be inflexible, I let go and surrender and be really flexible. And I have a very flexible mind, having a Gemini Mercury. So I am quite malleable. I'm changeable. I don't mind changing my mind, pretty much. So anyway, that's one of the 50 million tangents I'll go on. So air can lack emotional connection because they think and not feel. Yeah. Earth, let's talk about Earth. What is the Earth? It's frigging solid as, isn't it? It doesn't move unless there's an earthquake. And what's an earthquake caused by? Water? Because is it a volcano, I mean. I was thinking of the tsunami afterwards. So tectonic plates. So the Earth is solid. It's strong. It grows trees, yeah? So that is us Earth people. You will learn so much about me because I share my chart, I share what's in there, I share all of it. I share the not so good bits and all the good bits, and I share everything. You have me fully raw, fierce, vulnerable, and who I am. Once you share your chart with someone, they can see everything anyway. A chart never lies. So even if someone doesn't resonate with their chart, they just haven't activated that part of themselves yet, because the chart will never lie. And the only way it can be really wrong and someone really just go, that is not me, is if their time of birth is wrong. That is the only way. Your time of birth sets your entire chart up, sets all the houses up, and then where all the planets go in those houses. So the time of birth is crucial. Yes, so we've got the Earth. Now we move into the yin. So the receptive, the feminine, yin, yeah? So earth and water are those two. So earth and water get along well. Fire and air get along well, okay? So the earth signs are Taurus, the concentrator, Virgo, the discriminator, and Capricorn, the practical idealist. Okay, so earth, I always just think of the earth moves under my feet song. I always think of that when I say the earth. The earth is solid. She is structure. She is where everything comes from. And I think water's very similar. The water and earth go together. When there's a river, well, it's on top of the earth. And that's why water and earth go really well together. Water and fire, how would that go together? Well, the water puts out the fire. So maybe a fire sun, like a Leo sun, might not really understand a Cancer sun because they're water and more flowy and sensitive and feely and dreamy, whereas the Leo's like, a bit more fixed. And we're going to go into the qualities in a moment. The qualities. So what we're looking at is, what have I called them? Yeah, I've called them qualities here. What we're looking at is the elements and the qualities this week. The elements are 12 signs broken into 4 sections, 3 different signs in each, yeah? So they're broken into fire, air, earth, and water. Then we're going to turn over to the qualities, and the qualities are the opposite. They're broken down into 3 sections with 4 planets in each. So we're going to talk about that next up. Getting ahead of myself here. Earth, back to Earth. So it's back to Earth. Earth people are practical, realistic, and, and then what you're doing is you're having a look at how many of each element you have in your chart. So I have a lot of air. So I am lots of air, including my ascendant, 4 planets in air and my ascendant. So you will see the little AC in the little box there, but you go over to each of the signs in this box here and tally it up for yourself, and then go and check here and see if you're right. But obviously this is our week 1, but just go and have a look at, because I've gone through the signs of each of the, and you've got it all there in your notes. So I am heavy air and heavy earth. So when you think of that, I have lots of ideas and I can anchor most of them, okay? I can ground them. I'm very good at manifesting. I'm very good at bringing things into reality. I can be off, like on a million different tangents. I speak with my hands because I'm very mercurial. I have a wide open mind. I am inspired by divine, by the universe, by the divine. Everything is poured within me, and I am very practical. I'm very grounded. I'm a very pragmatic person. So what I don't have a lot of in my chart is fire. So the action side of things. Friggin' hell, ain't that the truth? I am a procrastinator. I can have a million different things and look at them all and just go, I'm going to watch Seinfeld. Yep, that's what I'll do. And then I'll legit watch Seinfeld and eat popcorn, when really I could be writing or doing something else that's productive, yeah? So that's the thing with me. I don't have a lot of fire. I have some water, not a lot either, 2 planets in water. But my moon's in water. So, I'm very intuitive, very nurturing, very caring. I'm a mother at the end of the day, but it's air and earth for me. So you want to have a look at what's dominant and then go through and really, nut out exactly how the elements are playing out in your chart. Let's talk about some of the earth keywords. Security values, like they value security. They like to be stable in a home. They're probably not someone who's got a lot of earth in their chart is probably not someone to be one of these gypsies. I've got friends who just sell everything and live out of a suitcase and travel, and I'm like, yeah, I don't have a lot of adventurous. I was that kid who everyone's jumping off the thing into the water, and I'm like, I'm going to see if anyone dies first, because I'm cautious. Earth sign people are cautious. And because I'm earth but then air, guess what I'm doing? I'm thinking. So I'm rationalizing. I'm like, oh, well, that doesn't look safe. I'm not going to jump off that frigging cliff into that water. That doesn't look safe. Guess who's jumping off? All the fire signs. Guess what they're not doing? They're not thinking about it. They're the fucking pioneers, man. They're the ones jumping off going, come on, come on. They're the leaders. The fire signs are the leaders. They're the ones going, follow me. And if they're lucky and they've got some air in their chart, they'll be practical, like they'll be thinking as well and not just doing without thinking, because fire signs can do and not think. But the earth in me keeps me very practical, very grounded, very cautious, very, slow. Slow and steady wins the race. Earth, reliable, sustaining, grounded, foundation, a very planted personality, sensual, security, practical, very big nature lovers. Any sign can be a nature lover, but earth signs seem to really, nature is their home, yeah? They are the form. It is about physical form. That's what the earth signs are about. They're the builders. They're patient. They're about the material stuff. They're about the material possessions. They're about sensation. They're conservative. They're very rooted into reality. Very methodical, but what they can lack is imagination and spontaneity. I mean, I've got all the air, so I'm quite imaginative, but I'm not very spontaneous. So you might have a lot of air and a lot of fire. So you're practical and grounded, but you love risks and take a chance, and you're not overthinking it, yeah? So you see how all these elements play out into your chart. It's a very, very overlooked part of astrology, the elements. And to be honest, it's literally a foundation. It is a foundation. Let's move to water. And that's why the missing element, if you do have an element that's missing, or even not, I'm going to suggest books along the way to read, books that I find interesting. Like I said, I haven't read this book, but I do love Deborah Silverman, and I think that it's a good book for beginners, because I think you need to understand the elements so well that you look at someone's chart, anyone's chart, and if the only thing you do is really talk about the elements and start talking about what we're sharing today, that's enough. That is enough to sort of inspire someone to go, yeah, how can I bring it in? And I'm going to share with you after we talk about water, how to bring in the elements. Yeah. So I'm just writing. I'm taking notes while still doing this. What the heck? It's because I'm always learning and I've got lots of ideas, and if I don't write them down, I'm screwed. Water is the second element of yin, feminine, receptive, and negative. Sorry, so the Taurus, Earth is negative as well. So you've got fire and air that are the positive signs, the yang and the positive. I think that even on a battery, it's the cross, which is the positive, which is like positive, like plus, and then you've got the negative, which is the earth and the water. Feminine, yin, receptive. Let's look at water. Water is life. Water is life. So having lots of water, you are the supreme nurturer. I feel like earth is real earth mama, but water is the supreme nurturer, because water is everything. Tears, our body's made up of 80% of water. The world is surrounded by water. We can boil an egg hard in water, but we can soft boil an egg in water. Water will move through anything. And there's a wonderful quote by Jackie Chan, I think it is, that it's actually talking about flowing and being like water. So not getting stuck, because a water won't get stuck. You know, a water will always find its way through. Like even if there's 3 rocks together, the water will keep building and then just go over the rocks. And, you know, the most amazing thing about water is a rock, which is earth. A rock is hard, isn't it? A rock is hard. And water is soft, yet water can smooth out a rock just by flowing onto it continuously. If water lets sit, it becomes stagnant. Yeah, so we need the flow in water. So heavy water people need to continue the flow, because if they stay stuck, they become manky, skanky water with a million mosquitoes. You know, that skanky water that stinks. There's like things breeding in it. It's gross, okay? So water is feminine. She holds things, yeah? And something will hold her, like a container can hold the water. But as soon as you take the container away, water is boundless. It doesn't have boundaries. And you will find, especially with Pisces, I find, and all water signs though, that they probably, out of everyone, struggle with boundaries the most. And you'll probably find that earth signs don't struggle with boundaries the most. And I've never struggled with boundaries. People are like, oh, you know, you can't say no. And I'm like, yeah, you can. You say no. No is a full sentence. So the thing is that water needs to work on boundaries, because you think about the ocean. Where are the boundaries? It's only the earth that gives it the boundaries, right? So really fascinating. And that's what I do with all of astrology. You wait until next week when we're talking signs. Like, I relate the signs to their symbols, and I love diving into that animal part of it, because I love the totem aspect of that. And yeah, it's oh my God, I just love this so much. I could keep talking for a million hours, and you'll get a million hours of me, Millie. So the signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So Cancer, the cosmic mother. Scorpio, passionate. Pisces, compassionate. Yeah. So the key words are emotions, cycles, reflective, flow, tears, intuition, intuitive, very intuitive, the water signs. They're the feelers. It's all about the feelings. Do I feel like doing this? Do I not feel like doing this? How am I feeling today? They're very caring, very responsive, very nurturing, very sensitive. They are the nourishers, yeah? And they can be very self-sacrificing too. So I would say that, you know, the water signs need to, they not need to, there's nothing wrong with being sensitive. No one needs to toughen up, but the water signs have to be aware that they have to not take things so personally all the time. You know, not everything's about them, not everything's affected to them or directed to them. That's a big thing with water signs because they are so sensitive. They're probably prone to take things personally the most. We will talk about Leo next week because those guys are very sensitive too. But the water signs in general can be very sensitive. And as I shared earlier, my moon, my feelings, my moony that I've got tattooed onto me is in the sign of Cancer. So you feel that. And this is where you start to look at what planets are in what signs. Yeah, and once we get to planets, you're going to, oh my God, there's just so much. So finishing up on elements, that is the 4 elements. Yeah, that is the 4 elements. Fire and air get along well, earth and water get along well. Okay. Ultimately, my tips are look at the element itself. Fire, the candle burning. When we're looking at crystals, they're the darker crystals, rubies and carnelians, and they're the crystals that take action, right? So I'm saying this because if you lack an element, I say you need to find that somewhere else in your life. You need to add that element. So for someone who lacks air per se in their chart, burn sage, burn incense, open the windows right up every day so you get fresh air. Okay, when you're lacking that particular element, you need more of it in your physical everyday life. If you lack fire in your chart, yeah, you know, I love burning candles, but also working with crystals that can produce action, like carnelian is really good for taking action. So finding crystals that will work for you on their elements as well. Also, for me, because I lack fire, going to the gym, I drive out of the house, I go and work out, taking physical action for someone who doesn't have a lot of fire, I tell you, it is a godsend. When I am on fire, literally in my life, in my job, in my home, in my marriage, or with my kids, with everything, you know what's the one thing that's the same is I'm physically active. That is when I am. As soon as I drop the ball on my physical activity, that's it. I'm out of harmony. I'm out of balance. So you've got to find the things. You've got to bring the element into your life. You might have quite an even number of planets in the elements, and that's cool too. So we're just looking at 10 to begin with. Okay. So to find your 10, all I want you to do is go through the sun through to Pluto and find out how many of each element, and just pop that in your journal or in your book, or pop that in here. That's all I want you to do to begin with, okay? And in our live, we're going to chat about it. So you bring in what you lack. If you lack air, open windows. If you lack water, you know, working with, meditation, working with trusting your intuition, obviously drinking lots of water, swimming in oceans, and swimming is very cleansing and healing for someone who's got no water in their chart. Also working with crystals that are around heart. Yeah, crystals that are around nurturing heart, rose quartz, dioptase, green and pink crystals that can really open the heart up, yeah, because water is heart to me. And if you lack earth, Boji stone, that's always the crystals I go to if you lack earth, Boji stones. And if you lack earth, you need to be on the earth every day, bare feet on the ground, hug a tree, have plants around you in the home. See, like whatever we lack, we bring that in another way to balance it out. And if it seems pretty even like 3 and 2, 3 and 2, and that makes up your 10, where you've only got 2, that can sort of be, maybe check out, well, I've only got 2 earth. Do I feel grounded, or do I feel quite erratic and mentally unstable and not grounded enough? So maybe I do still need to bring more earth into my life. Yeah, so that's another way to add that element. And then once we get to the houses, we can look at those planets and see if they're in a house that you lack that element. So if you've got no Earth, but then I show you, oh, but actually you've got 5 planets in Earth houses, so you will find that, oh no, actually I still actually, yeah, I'm still good with that. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the qualities. So we turn the page and it's the qualities. Now this is separated into 3 different categories, 4 different signs. Okay, so we start with Aries, Cancer, Libra and Capricorn. Now all of these are 4 signs apart. Okay, I'm just going to draw a little diagram here. So if we look here, Aries is here, and then you would go Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sag, Cap. Okay, so they're all 4 apart, and then you go along and you get back to Aries, right? So we're not doing aspects, but you can see that that forms a square. Okay, so those 4 signs can find that they butt heads a little bit, okay, because it's a bit tense, yeah? And then we're going to look at within those 4 signs in each of this, there are 2 sets of 2 opposites. So the opposing, what that one has, the other one lacks. It can be a teacher or it can be dropping into the shadow of that sign, okay? So each of these these 3 qualities with the 4 signs each, 4, 4, 4. So you can see that in your notes. They are all 4 planets apart. Okay. I just want to share this really quickly that the elements are 3 planets apart. Okay. So if I was to do a triangle, I would go Aries. Oh, no, they're divided by 3, aren't they? Oh, my God. You know what? To be in astrology, you need to be good at maths. I am shit house at maths, as you can see. So these guys are Aries. So it's like I need to do it on the chart. Sorry. Yeah, no, they're 3. Oh, no, what have I done? Oh my God, I can't believe that I've just had like the biggest mind blank ever. It's because I was doing really bad maths in my, no, I did do that right. So, oh yeah, I did it wrong, didn't I? I've actually really confused myself. Yes, it's that. Okay. Sorry about that. Got that wrong. It's the other way around. It's 3 and 4. So instead of 4, it's and I even went through the signs. What is even going on with me today? That's hilarious. So the elements. Can that? I don't edit shit, okay? So sorry about that. And I have to make mistakes because I'm a human. The elements are all in harmony with each other. I've said that. So we have Aries, Leo, and Sag. I've highlighted them here. They make a triangle. This is harmony. Yeah, they're harmonious together. They get along together. And they are 4 signs apart. I'm sorry, of course, because 4 and 3 is 12. 3 and 4 is 12. There's just too much friggin' maths for me today. So the qualities are 3 signs apart, but they actually still form a square, okay? Maybe I did say that. Now I'm friggin' confused. So Aries, Taurus, Gemini. So it's Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. So they're 3 apart, but they form a square. Ultimately, what I'm trying to say is that the qualities of cardinal, fixed, and mutable, which are the top part of your little chart down here now, cardinal, fixed, and mutable, yeah? Fire, air, earth, water, cardinal, fixed, mutable. These are the elements. These are the qualities, okay? 4 and 3, 3 and 4, flippin' hell, apologies. So the elements, well, no, yeah, so it's 3 apart and it's so I'm right, but what I'm saying is that from Aries to Cancer, there's 2 signs in the middle, okay? Then it's the third one. This is the quality of cardinal, okay? So it's 2 signs and then it's the third planet. 2 signs and then it's the next planet. 2 signs, next planet, 2 signs, next planet. So it's going around the 2 signs, whereas with the elements, it's the 3. So Aries, then it'll be Taurus, Gemini. Cancer, then the 4th sign is the Leo, the other fire sign, okay? So it's because I had the square in the, anyway. Fires, the elements get along really well. The qualities are tight and tense, okay? So the first ones, let's look at this. Cardinal, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. These guys are the influencers of the environment. They're at the forefront. These guys are proactive. I've looked at many charts, and the top of the chart, which we'll learn about when we do the angular houses, is the career, is the public eye. And because America changes presidents all the time, so many of the presidents had a Cancer MC, so a Cancer midheaven, or they were Cancers, Capricorn. So you're looking at these signs as leaders: Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So see what's happened there. There is 1 from each element. Yeah, this is what makes up the qualities. You have Aries, fire, Cancer, water, Libra, air, Capricorn, earth. You have got 1 of each element in each of the qualities, okay? So cardinal are these natural leaders. Where am I? Hard workers. They promote change. They're fair. They're diplomatic. They are proactive. They take action. They set things in motion. They can be tough, assertive. They're very commanding. They promote change. They're all about initiation and taking 1 step at a time. So you will see in your work, go and find out, is your boss one of those 4 signs? And you're going to see it then in a different way, and each of them will develop will display their element in a different way. So an Aries will be a fiery leader, a Cancer will be a feeling leader, a Libra will be a thoughtful, someone who's very diplomatic and all about fairness. Libra is about fairness. So you'll find that a Libran boss will be about fairness. No, you're getting that and you're getting that. Everything's about diplomacy, yeah? And then the Capricorn leader, well, they're the grounded. Everyone loves a Capricorn leader. They're structured and grounded and solid and realistic and reliable. So you've got each of the elements that make up the new quality that is cardinal, yeah? That is cardinal. Hope you've got that. They are the influencers. They are the pioneers. They are the leaders, okay? So of course, then what are we going to do next? You're going to look at how many of your planets are in cardinal. So how do you have planets in Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn? And how many of each? So then you go and nut that out again. So you're going to have 10 elements, tallies for earth, air, fire, and water. And then cardinal, fixed, and mutable, you're going to have another 10 for all of those signs. And you're going to see what you're most heavy, what is the most prominent for you, okay? So the next one is fixed. These are the fixed, rigid, very earthbound, inflexible 4 signs. These 4 signs are Taurus, so that's the earth, so that's a fixed earth. So if you're fixed earth, which I am, it doesn't go anywhere. It's pretty immovable. Then you've got Leo, that's fixed fire. So a fixed fire sign is it's a doozy, you know. Leos are seen as these spontaneous, adventurous, but they are very fixed. They will eat the same food at the same restaurant because, again, they're fixed. Oh, but that's what brings me happiness. Leo's about happiness, but that's what brings me happiness. That food, you know. My daughter's a Leo. All she cares about is where's the best hot chip. She doesn't want to try anything else, just the hot chips. And she'll go to the same place and get the same thing because she's fixed, yeah? So her actions are fixed because she's a fire sign. Scorpio, they have fixed feelings, yeah? It's an emotional sign. Scorpio, fixed. Aquarius is the fixed air sign. Now, people say that Taurians are the most stubborn. Interestingly enough, once you start to really understand astrology and study people, like this is what I love to do, study people, right? And look at hundreds of charts, and I can just have conversations with people and know their moon sign. Often I can pick their ascendant. If I'm really good, I can pick their sun because it's often easier to see someone's moon and ascendant as opposed to their sun. But yes, Taurians can be stubborn, but they're more immovable. I think that that's what it is. It's just like, I'm staying here, I'm not moving, you know, that's just it, right? And you change that when you become aware of it. You don't want to be stubborn and inflexible. But an Aquarian is the fourth fixed sign, and it is a fixed air sign. And what's air represent? The mind. And they are very fixed mentally. They have ideas and they are these innovative, eccentric people, but they can be so fixed in their ideas and opinions that they are more stubborn. And I'm in a million astrology groups, and this one guy has these like battle-offs, like who's the most stubborn, and he put Taurus and Aquarius. So it was who was the most stubborn out of the four fixed. So Leo and Scorpio went first, and then it ended with Taurus and Aquarius beat Taurus because that their mind is stubborn. We might be, we're stubborn because we don't want to move. Like, we're a bull, man. We just want to have sex and eat. Like, that's what the Taurus bull likes to do. But the Aquarian, now that's a different story. It's the mind. Okay, so I'm just sharing this because this is important. You want to understand the elements of each sign, then you're going to understand how that plays out in the quality, because obviously so you've got Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. They're the four cardinal signs, but a Capricorn is going to be very different to an Aries. Even though they're both cardinal, even though they're both leaders, how different do they do it? Very different. One's earthy, grounded, responsible, reliable. One's fiery, just gets up and does action. Let's just do it and not even think about it, right? Air and earth, different, yeah? So the fixed notes are determined, they're persistent, not easily influenced by others. So if you have a lot of fixed energy, you're not often easily influenced. I've met someone with like 8 planets in fixed signs, and for her to even come and have a reading with me, I was like, oh my God, am I going to say anything that you're going to even agree with? Because they're just not influenced by others very much, yeah? Like, they are their own people. And if you meet a Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius sun, generally speaking, they're pretty strong within themselves. They don't seek out help very often. They try and do everything themselves because they're very self-sufficient. Yeah, and it's also got a lot to do with them being fixed. So also not softening. You know, if something's fixed, it's not soft. So, you know, we as fixed signs have to work on that. They're sustaining. It's all about routine. Can be definitely, obviously, what I said, rigid, fixed, and obstinate. Stable, loyal, predictable, stubborn, self-contained, comfortable and doesn't like change, too structured, fixed opinions, and the stability is great but can hang on to the past as well. So that's the fixed signs. Now the mutable are the last 4 signs. We have Gemini, Virgo, Saggy, and Pisces. So that's at the bottom here. This is your mutable. Now, these are what I call the chameleons of the zodiac. These are the changeable ones. These are the guys that go with the flow, change. Yeah, I'm cool for that. You know, maybe change their appearance a lot. They're flowy, floaty, but my word is chameleon, because you can find that these, especially I would say Pisces and Gemini out of the mutable. Gemini is the air mutable, so very changeable in the mind. changes the ideas, changes what they say, and a lot, you know, Geminis get a hard rap, but a lot of the Gemini stuff is that they can say one thing and then 10 minutes later say something completely different, and it can come across as untruth to others, but it's the simple fact that they just talk and they don't think, and they've maybe changed their mind in that 10 minutes, or 1 minute they thought that and the next minute they thought something else. It's a changeable mind. It's also a very adaptable mind, you know. Gemini is very adaptable. Pisces is the same. Chameleon. Pisces is very much a chameleon because they're the water. So again, where are the boundaries? It's like, oh, I'm hanging out with this group of people. I'm now like this group of people, and now I'm hanging out with this group of people. So I'll be a bit more like that group of people, and now I'm hanging out with these, and I'll be a little bit more like them. So they can flow in and out of situations and just keep putting on many, many different masks. Virgo, mutable, you know, it's the earth mutable. So they're changeable, but, and they can, sometimes it's really deep with the Virgo. They're changeable, but you know, they always come across as very solid because it's the earth mutable, but they are mutable, my friends. And then the Saggies, who are the fire mutable, you know, adventure and, you know, changeable, change directions, travel, you know, Saggies are the travelers. So again, you know, that mutability in fire is action, okay? So the mutable can be flighty, hard to pin down, and like I said, I call them the chameleons of the zodiac. They're changeable, they're flexible, they're unpredictable, they're unstable, superficial, adaptable, can be very vague, not solid. Mutable is not solid, yeah? Open to outside influence, and that's the, you know, it's the real difference. You've got fixed signs who, you know, really aren't influenced by anyone, the cardinal signs who are the leaders, and the mutable who are just like, oh, I'll just, you know, I'll be influenced by many different people. And there's nothing wrong with that. You've got to start, you know, it's just about looking at how does that happen in your life. And I know a lot of people with a lot of mutable in their chart, and when they sort of done this workshop with me or had a reading with me, they were like, yes, I am so like that. So they can breathe a little bit and go, yeah, I am just a changeable person. And, you know, and then it can help them be aware that, oh no, this is something important. So I'm not going to change my mind. I'm going to actually become solid in that area. Yeah, I'm going to hone in some skills here and become solid and not be vague on that topic. I'm going to maybe do a bit of research on that topic instead of just shooting my mouth off, right? So you start to then integrate the positives and the negatives into your life to become whole and see how it all plays out for you in your life. And the mutable signs also find it really easy to let go. Yeah, so they're like the opposite to the fixed. Yeah, so personally for me, I don't, mutable energy for me, it's not great for me. I have to learn mutable energy because I think I've got maybe, what have I got? 2 planets out of 10 in mutable energy. So I am all fixed and all cardinal. Leader, you know, I answer to no one but myself. I'm fixed in my ideas and who I am. No one's outside influence infiltrates me. So when there's a lot of mutable energy in the sky, I'm around someone who's really mutable, I find it very scattering and disorientating. I find it's just a bit too much. So I have to learn to relax and flow with that, just as, you know, just as when you're aware and if you're really mutable and really scattered, that you've got to learn to just slow it down a bit, be solid. Yeah, be solid, find some balance and find a breath, you know, just to be, and you don't have to be changeable. So I think that when you understand the qualities and your elements, you really get a good solid indication already. I mean, we've only done 1 week. You get a solid indication of, you know, where some of your positives lie, where you need to learn and grow a little bit more, where you need to add a different element into your life if you're lacking an element. And where are all your planets when it comes to cardinal, fixed, and mutable? Okay. So the last thing of the week is the opposites, the opposing signs. So when I said that the qualities, those 4 signs in cardinal, fixed, and mutable, they all can have a little bit of tension. Okay, so an Aries can get a little bit like, with a Cancerian, and a Capricorn can get a little bit, with a Libran, right? But the thing is that it is called a square in astrology. And the thing is that because it's a 90-degree angle, right? So you can't have walls and structure without a 90-degree angle. Everything's a 90-degree angle if you want some solidity. So I find even in looking at relationships and stuff, I've read people's relationship charts and everything flows together. There's like no square, oh, everything's amazing, their moons and their suns and their Venuses. And I'm telling you now, it's pretty fucking boring on my level. Like, I wouldn't want a relationship like that. It's very vanilla, very plain. He agrees with everything she says. He lets her do whatever. She rules the roost because he's so like this. Their understanding is beautiful because they have a lot of the same elements and everything's so same. But the thing is that these tensions we then can learn from other people. So if you have tense, you know, if you and your partner are an Aries and a Cancer, well, that's tense. But you're learning from one another and you're both wanting to be the leaders. So then you have to sort of soften in that. You know, I know a couple who are still together and they're both very dominant. They've been through a lot, but Aries and Cancer. And they've got kids and they're doing well, but they're both like their own people. So it's when there starts to be clingy and neediness, like you understand the other person and what they require. So just because Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn can have a little bit of like tension, doesn't mean that they can't get along. And so within each of this there's the opposites. So the opposite signs, and you've got a little sheet. So this is just any sort of little sheet that I find, anything, because I've got so much stuff saved. I will pop it into the group, or if it's printable, I will print it up and pop it into your workbooks. And it's just little handouts. Like, it's not done by me. I find it on the internet. I actually don't even know where I found this one. I just screenshot stuff because these things are just really helpful. So opposites are also called polarities, but let's just it's the opposing sign. So you've got a little polarities thing here in your week 1 workbook. So this is really simple because ultimately everything has its opposite, okay? And its opposite will be fire and air, earth and water, okay? So you look at the earth signs, their two opposites are the two fire, their opposites are in the water and the air's opposites are in the fire, okay? So Aries and Libra, fire and air, yeah? Taurus and Scorpio, earth and water, see? Gemini and Sagittarius, Cancer and Capricorn, Leo and Aquarius, and Virgo and Pisces. So they're the opposites. So that means that they are exactly six away from each other. When you're looking at the math, there are 12 signs, and the first sign and the 7th sign, because they're 6 away, they're the opposite. 2 and 8, 3 and 9, 4 and 10, 5 and 11, 6 and 12. The reason I did that so good is because I'm looking at the chart and I can see the houses. That's why. So it's all there somewhere within me. I'm just not a friggin' mathematician. And obviously they're coupled. So Aries is fire and Libra is air. So Aries is self and Libra is others. Yeah. So So I just wanted to share the opposites because we're going to talk more about the signs next week. Well, we're going to share all the 12 signs, so we're going to talk more a little bit about it then. But ultimately, the opposites are what can happen is that so I'm a Taurus and so a Scorpio, so I can attract a lot of Scorpios into my life, and either they have what I need to learn, or if I'm falling into my shadow, I can become like a Scorpio. Okay, so ultimately that's sort of the tip here. That's sort of what I've written here, is that they do have what we lack, and there are lessons in opposites to learn from. So of course, let's just talk about Aries and Libra. Libra is all about others. They are codependent, whereas Aries is independent. Libra is all about sort of pleasing other people. Oh, but how do you feel? They're the peacemakers. Aries just cares about what it wants to do. Well, I'm going to do what I want to do because I'm about myself. Aries is the first zodiac sign. Self, yeah? So, of course, what could Aries learn from Libra? To be more self-sacrificial, to actually not be so independent at times, and to call on other people and to care about what other people have to say and think. Yeah, so we do have to learn some of the opposite stuff. However, when we can be in our real shadow and actually not I've got it written here better. Yeah, distract, that was the word I was looking for. If we're distracting from our own sign, we can then fall into the other sign, and it's like a shadow. So an Aries out of alignment will just totally look like a Libran, right? And they won't feel happy inside because they're actually out of alignment. They need to come back in and stand up for themselves, but they're being too much like the Libran. Yeah. So there's a lot to learn from our opposite, and obviously the opposites are the same yang, yang masculine, or yin and feminine. So obviously Taurus and Scorpio is yin feminine, and Aries and Libra is yang masculine. Gemini, Cancer, the same. Yeah, you just go straight back and look at your little table with all the elements, and with the little note down the bottom of fire and air, masculine, yang positive, and earth and water. Yeah. So the opposites are those. So you're looking here, Earth, Taurus, water, Scorpio, opposites. Virgo, Pisces, Capricorn, Cancer. Capricorn is the father, Cancer is the mother. Gemini, yeah, I'll just go through and say a couple of little words about them. Like I said, Aries is self, Taurus, Libra is others. Taurus is grounded, reality, realistic, making money. And on some level, Taurus is about self too. It's about self-sustaining and nourishment. Whereas Scorpio is, outside resources, other people, the occult, the mysterious, stuff that's not really physical. Yeah. Gemini and Sag, those opposites. Gemini is the student. Yeah, the student of the zodiac. They want to learn, they want to discover, they want new experiences. Feed me more information, collect more knowledge. I want to learn, I want to grow. But Sagittarius is the guru. Sagittarius is the teacher. Sagittarius thinks they already know everything. So they have a lot to learn from Gemini. Then Gemini have a lot to learn from Sag. Cancer, Capricorn. Cancer is the mother, the divine mother. She's nurturing, she's caring, she's all about heart. Capricorn, he's Saturn, he's stern, he's the father, he can be cold. Leo, self, the sun. Everything revolves around me. Aquarius, humanitarian, others. Virgo, service. Virgo is the most serving sign, wants to help, wants to have a place in society by helping. Pisces, the martyr, can be self-sacrificial, helps others to own detriment. Yeah. So that's just a little bit about the opposites. And once we go into the 12 signs, you'll be able to really polarize and see how they work. Yeah. So that was a good one. What do we get? An hour 30 nearly. So that is week 1. Week 1 is done. Week 1, we cover elements, qualities, opposites. And we talk about everything else in between to help you to match it all together. And I apologise for my little mix-up with the 2 and 3 apart. My gosh, I just had a total mind blank then. I actually am hungry, so it's probably got a lot to do with I've been working and I haven't eaten anything. So I'm going to go and eat now, and I will see you on our live call, which of course will be all about this. So if there are any questions between now and the live call, pop them in the group. Share what dominant element you are, but once this video is out, I will pop stuff in and we can chat further before we do our live call. So until then, enjoy diving deep into the elements and looking at the opposites in your chart, what opposites you may or may not have, and also looking at your qualities, how many cardinal, fixed, and mutable you have as well. So lots of love. It was so exciting. We've done it. Week 1 is done. So much love, so much love. And I will see you in the group very soon, my loves. Mwah. Bye.